Right, high pressure review, The Order. It's a pretty big one, Steve, to be honest, so we can't really fuck about, can we?
No.
Point one, go.
It looks amazing, but it's a load of shite.
Okay, so visuals, that's what everyone's been talking about. But in the hunt for photorealism, I think that The Order is pretty much the apex of that style at the moment. It's 19th century neo-Victorian, let's say steampunk, Westminster, all of that looks incredible. But it's not just the larger details, it's also the micro details, say their outfits, the stitching on Sir Galahad's gloves, their capes, all of that. It's great costume design. It's not just great programming, it's really good art direction, and it's that kind of the intersection where the top levels of those two meet. It's got great lighting as well, and it has a solidity to it. It seems like there's an actual aesthetic behind. It's not just, oh, it's Crisis style, it looks amazing. In everything from Big Ben down to the weapons they use, or, you know, the...
Shut the fuck up, Steve.
Oh, shit.
Second point, go.
I'm bored out of my skull, 'cause the pace is glacial.
Okay, the second point is pacing. This is one of the game's main problems, in that there's been a lot of brouhaha about it being, you know, it's too short, 5.5 hours. It took me about 7.5. However, the game is so glacially paced. The first half of the game is incredibly slow. It is incredibly slow. And then by the time it gets going in the second half, it just ends. And that's what's going to annoy people the most, because the world which we just talked about really pulls you in. You want more of it. You want to fuck around in that world. You want to walk around. You want to investigate. You want to shoot fucking werewolves, right? Can't do it. It ends on a note which is so sour that it's probably going to piss people off more than if it was just 2 hours shorter. That's the main problem with it so far.
There's loads of werewolf maulings, such a pity that the rest is bobbins.
Okay, so story. This obviously ties into the pacing. To say that the game constantly interrupts you seems true after a few hours. It's constantly going, here's a cutscene, here's a cutscene, here's a cutscene. But the game actually isn't interrupting you. You are interrupting it. Ready at Dawn is so in love with this story that it feels like whenever you actually get to play it, you're just waiting for the next cutscene. You're not a knight, you're a glorified cameraman. You just move into position for the next time Sir Galahad can talk to one of his fellow knights going, well, the Knights of the Round Table cannot be allowed to do this, sire, blah, blah, blah. And so they have this story, it's fairly well built, but at the same time, it comes at the expense of the shooting. It's a shooting game, and there is not a lot of actual shooting in it.
There's 16 chapters, and they're mostly identical, but it's no laughing party. The gunplay's fucking dreadful.
So, shooting, combat, the core of the game, or should be the core of the game, is fairly just functional. It's got some really nice stuff, like Galahad will adapt his angle of fire from cover and getting in and out. So if you lean out at certain points, the game will snap to a certain way of like leaning, and it's all very nice. It's contextual. Getting in and out of cover is also very solid. You never feel like you're moving in and out of it when you shouldn't be. However, the guns, they have alternate fire mode, some of them, and they have a slow-mo mode, but there's nothing like Gears Active Reload. You know, somebody gives a bit of spice to every encounter, and the enemies only really come in two forms, so shotgunners or just normal human dudes, and they just run at you. There's no guile, there's no excitement, there's no risk-taking in any of the shooting. It just feels like you just shoot people to get the next cutscene to play, and in a shooting game, you can't have that. You just can't be like, oh, okay, I just want to get these guys out of the way so I can see the next cutscene.
Galahad's army is here to stay. Galahad's army are on their way.
Cutscenes, again, so there's loads of cutscenes. It is a cutscene, you're interrupting it, as I said in an earlier point. But they have these interactive cutscenes, QTEs, essentially. And they've made a big thing about blurring the lines as to what is a cinematic and what is you're actually playing. But in reality, it's just another game of Simon Says. So you'll probably have seen the werewolf fight, which has been on YouTube. By now, a lot of people are annoyed about it because it recycles, the final boss recycles that. There is a thematic reason for it. However, it just shines a light on how there's a lack of like innovation in that they said there would be. They're like, oh yeah, these are the cinematics, they're going to change things. They're not. When you fight these guys, you just look at a point on them and then you press square or triangle. The rest of it is Simon Says knife fight. There's a lot of good ideas in the order, but in execution, in the imagination, it's just not there.
Overcome with the sense of loathing for the beards and moustaches and impeccable clothing.
Oh, I could talk for days about the moustaches in the order. And I will. I'm not even going to worry about the timer on this one. You know, this is like the end of the world. It's like the bit in Deep Impact when Teo Leone's just kind of waiting for the massive wave to just take her out. You know, the moustaches are great. The hair's great. They've done it. These are the best moustaches in gaming. That's what you can say. Is it a coincidence that one of the head knights looks like the former editor-in-chief of UK Esquire? I'm not sure it is.
Is that true?
Yeah, he does look quite a lot like Jeremy Langmead, you know. And, you know, when you're watching it, you just think, man, no wonder there's so many cinematics, because these guys, they're smashing it. I'd like to see myself a lot if I had a beard like that. I can't grow a beard. I'm thinking about getting one on the NHS. You know that? You can get beard transplants on... Actually, I don't think you can. Call the NHS.
Shut the fuck up, Steve. Right, so that was quite good, actually. I feel like you told me a lot about the order, but I already knew everything because I've also completed it.
Whoa!
Finished it the day after you, Steve.
Yeah.
So when I summarise what you've just told me, I'm effectively only summarising what I think. So rather than summarising, I think I'm going to go for a simile. The order is like you're allowed to gaze upon the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to do so unless you are drinking a cup of piss.
I'm going to actually delete all the words in my review and just put that in.
Right,
I
there we
think.
go.
Just there you go.
Right.
Mona Lisa, hot piss, 50 quid.
Exactly.
Pow.
Galahad's army is here to stay. Galahad's army are on their